So in addition to the little host or hostess gifts that we've created for this new bundle, we also have a really cute zigzag card, and it features our little turkey couple here. So it's mostly just a paper piecing sort of thing. I bet a lot of you could probably figure this out, but we're gonna go ahead and walk you through it. Let's start off with the center, okay? And then we did this in a nice red color. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue this down first and get it nice and centered, and just kind of build up on top of that. We've got a really beautifully detailed sentiment. It says give thanks, already cut out. You don't even have to get your stamps out. And just try to get a little bit of glue on these little nooks and crannies here. Got nice little detail here. It's going to make this card really stand out. And do your best to get this nice and centered so that you have a nice even border going all the way around. And definitely make sure that it's straight. Okay, there we go. I think that looks good. And just push that down into place. And then from here on out, it's mostly just a paper piecing sort of thing. Okay, so let's get this large layer down here. That's going to go right over where we have the little red cutout. Okay, so it's going to look like that. Let's get our glue on this piece here. And put a little bit too much there. I have to kind of dab some of that off, and then just do some dots here and there. And you've got a really thin little area there around the perimeter of the caption. I would suggest maybe just dabbing that a little bit with your finger so you don't get a bunch of glue shooting out everywhere, just like that. Kind of flattens it out, especially down here. I went a little heavy with the glue, but that's okay. Should be okay. So this is probably, well, it's not even that hard. I'm holding one half at the top, one half at the bottom, because they kind of want to be separate from each other as far as movement. So I'm kind of making sure, oops. There we go. I may need to go in and clean some of that up by adding a little extra glue here or there, but overall, that looks good. Okay, and then we've got the word give, and that is going to go right in this little area here. You can see where it's kind of, cut out for it. It is going to go over the H and the K, and that's totally normal, totally by design. With this, I would suggest just doing little dots here and there. You don't need a lot. It's a very thin, light piece. It's going to stick. And if you got a little bit too much on there, just kind of dab it a little bit, just like that. Don't need to get it in every little nook and cranny, just as long as you got enough. And then just get it nice and aligned with the little shadow layer there. And there we go. That's good. All right, got a little maple leaf. There's a little cutout there at the top to help you with the placement. Just a few little dots on our little maple leaf here. Speaking of maple leaves, I got a couple maple trees today. Oops. I think my finger is stickier than the glue I just put on my maple leaf here. There we go. Okay, there's our maple leaf, and then we've got this little piece here. And again, this is has a lot of fine details, this little card here, especially the center caption. So you want to go easy on the glue and just dab it a little bit, just so you don't get glue everywhere. And then just place that right down into its little home. Okay, and then one other thing you want to pay attention to is the bottom of the acorn. Make sure you find the one that fits well for these. Both of the turkeys have little acorns as well. Theirs are a little bit larger. So for this little centerpiece here, you want to make sure you grab the smaller bottom piece of the acorn for this. Okay. And it's going to fit just like a little puzzle. Just nudge it right in there. And there is your center with the little caption. There's a little area there to write a little note or just to sign your name, whatever you want to do. But there is the center. Love the colors. That looks wonderful. All right, let's take a look at our male turkey here. I'm just going to move this out of the way so I don't mess up the order in which I have everything. And again, it's just kind of a paper piecing thing. It's pretty simple. It's kind of brings you back to scrapbooking a little bit. And so of course we want to get this nice and centered. And what I would do is, I'm going to move this over for a second. I would put this next to this as you lay down this piece, just to make sure that the bottom of this is lined up with the bottom of that when you go down to place this. Okay, so let's get our glue on this piece here. And as you can see, I ran this through an embossing folder as well to give it a little bit of texture. It's like a swirly one. I think it's by Doris. Pretty sure. Most of the embossing folders we have are from Doris, which are the ones available at Joann's. I think they may actually also be available at Michael's, but my Joann's is closer to me, which is why I go there. But Michael's is only a few extra minutes away, so it's not like it's that far away. All right, so I'm getting it lined up, making sure that it's lined up there, but also making sure that I've got a nice even border going all the way around and that it's nice and centered. Then I'm going to press that down. Okay. All right, that's good. That looks good. Let me pull that up real quick here. Okay, next up is this large piece for our turkey. And this is going to be like a little puzzle because we're going to kind of slip it into these little areas that are already kind of cut out. So this might be a fun little project to do with a child too. Maybe you could do the placement on that and then have them, you know, glue these little pieces in. So I'm just kind of matching up his little toes, and then the hat should pretty much fall into place. There's going to be a little bit of wiggle room there. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to glue that right on top like that. And you can see that there's some embossing that I did as well. Okay. And just get that lined up with his hat and the side. Should match up nicely. And there we go. That's a little bit weird because the only areas that are sticking are the ones that are raised from the embossing. So you got to make sure that you really kind of hold it there. If you emboss that layer, make sure it sets nicely. Okay, let's see. I can do his little tail feathers. Now, one thing to kind of keep in mind here is the tail feathers are going to be a little bit different for the male and the female turkey. The female turkey is going to have, on one side, it's going to have like 2 inverted scallops. Okay, and that's because of her little hat. But it only fits one way, so I'm sure you'll get it. And we just got to get that glued down. And again, just like a little puzzle piece, make sure that it's right up against its little neighbor. There we go. I'll grab the other side. Whoa, way too much glue there. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we can put his little face on. Now the faces are a little bit different in that there's some score marks on here, and the score marks are to help you position the his little mouth. Let me make sure I got that on right. There we go. It should be pretty much centered down the center there. Okay, and what I mean by the score marks being different is you'll notice that when you put this on, that there's a little extra score mark just below his eye, and that score mark kind of fits the little dip between his nose and that, I forgot what that thing's called, that little weird thing. But anyway, so that's how you know. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because the faces are pretty much the same. So if your turkey's little thingy, I forget what it's called, the little thingamajig, that thing, I'm sure someone will comment on YouTube and tell me exactly what it's called. Is it called a waddle? I want to say it's a waddle. It's probably not a waddle. Maybe it's a waddle. All right, I'm just putting his nose down now. And then he's got some toes. There's a little point on one end of the toes. The points point inward. So you can drop a couple tiny little drops of glue on there. Just match that up with the little scallops there at the bottom. And again, because I've got that embossed, I gotta just glue it and let it sit so it can grip. So there's not much for it to hold on to. Okay. All right, so now, well, we can do his hat. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue the top of his hat on first. And that's gonna be flush with the top of that shadow layer that's already there. And something happened with my machine here. It cut a little weird. I'm just gonna trim that off. There we go. Okay, and let's glue his little brim on. There we go, and that should be nice and flush, like a little puzzle piece with his head. There we go. Okay, and he has a little buckle that we want to glue on. And that should fit in there nicely as well, and it does. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna draw in some eyebrows for him. We've got some pretty little leaves that we're also going to glue up at the top of the card. So let's get our glue and just match up the cutouts on the leaf with the cutouts on the blue layer. In my case, it's the blue layer. Yours may be a different color. Get those matched up, press down. That's pretty. And then let's do his other leaf. I'm gonna put really small pearls or rhinestones in there to give him black eyes. You can draw those in if you want, or if you don't have any. But I'm gonna do that probably off camera. Take a look at the final photo to see what other little embellishments and things we added to that. And then at the bottom of the acorn, just get that in place. Just match that up like a little puzzle piece, just like so. Give it a push. And there is the male turkey. There we go. Okay, that looks great. Now let's head over to the other side here. And let's get rid of all these pieces for a second. And kind of just like we did the first time, I'm just gonna line these up so that when we go to place this down, we get this layer lined up nicely with the other so everything is kind of on the same plane, so to speak. All right, so get my glue on this layer here. And I can just use this one here. And get that nice and level, nice even border. And that should be about right. Make sure it's even. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay. So that's that. Now, you know what, let's just do our leaves first. Let's work our way from the top to the bottom. Get a little glue on your leaf. I'll spread that out a little bit. A little crazy with that glue there. And get that aligned nicely with the cutout. Here we go. And our other one. Okay. All right, and the acorn. Let's get that in place. I think I'm probably hosting Thanksgiving this year. So I don't know that I'll probably still give this to somebody. Just because. All right, so now we're gonna get the main body of our female turkey glued down. Just going pretty sparse with the glue there. And again, just like a little puzzle piece. It should just fit in there nice and secure. Give that a press. Okay. And then, well, you know, we can do the side piece here first. No, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's get this piece on. Nice and easy. Okay. And here we go. And of course, this does come with an envelope. Some of you may be mailing these cards out to your family, and that's fine. We've got an envelope included. All right, so now, yeah, we're gonna put the face in. The face is gonna line up with these little cheeks here. Okay, so I want to get that, and then the little neck should be nice and centered with her little blouse, the neckline on the blouse. So as long as you get that nice and centered, like that, roughly. There we go. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And put her, I'm going to say this is a bonnet. Get that right on there. It's the same color, but we've done some inking to it, so it kind of helps it stand out from the layer behind it. Okay, then we'll get her little nose, her little beak, and her wattle. I think it's called a wattle. I should have probably Googled it. It's funny how I have to prepare for my job. I have to Google silly things, and I don't even do it. I'm such a slacker. And then we'll put her nose on there. Oops, ew. A little too much glue there, Leo. Okay, oops. Well, you can tell that I've been crafting all day because my fingers are stickier than my glue bottle. And that ain't no joke. That ain't no joke. There we go. Use another finger. All right, let's get her toes, or her little talons. I wouldn't want to call any girl's toenails talons. I think we'd probably have some problems. We're going to put on some finely manicured, or I'm sorry, pedicured talons, toes, on our little Miss Turkey thing here. Okay, there we go. And that just leaves her little scalloped tail feathers. So let's get our glue on that. And again, this little double scallop section is the section that's going to go right underneath her little bonnet. And that's where that's going to go. Okay, same thing with the other side here. That doesn't look right. That's right, that's fine. Okay, and voila. Just pop that right in there. There we go. Okay, so we got 3 sections of the card done. So the way that this card is going to open and close is the turkey's going to be on the front, then this is going to be there, and then the other turkey's going to be on the back. So in essence, really, all we're doing is we're gluing both of these little tabs here to the back like this. Okay, so just like that, I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on this little section here. And get that glued on like that. Just make sure that it's nice and lined up. I would close it to make sure that it closes properly. And also make sure that this is nice and flush with the bottom. There we go. Push that down. Okay. There we go. So far so good. And then our Miss Turkey. We're going to glue that right into place like so. So let me flip this over this way. This makes more sense. Get our glue on this section here. And I'm going to do it this way. Just line that up right there. And that should line up nicely. Make sure it's nice and flush. Close that up. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so that is our card, and that is how it opens and closes. And again, take a look at the final photo for the little finishing touches that I'm going to do with my little pearls and rhinestones and such. But that is how the card opens. That is how the card is going to sit. And let's take a look real quick at our envelope, which is very simple. It's just a few pieces. So we've got this piece here. I'm going to take this and just fold everything at the score marks. And here's our little flap. Got this little piece here that we're going to glue to the inside of the flap like so. So what we want to do is get our glue all through here and then just do a nice little fine line there. And maybe just throw a few little dots into some of these little nooks and crannies here. And just pop that right on there. And just make sure that you've got it nice and centered. Give it a push. Take a look. That looks good. All right. Then we have a little acorn piece to give this a little dimension. And that is going to fit in there like a little puzzle. So just pop that piece into place. And we've got the top of the acorn We're going to glue that to the top of the acorn. Just dab that a few times. And bam. Just like that. And then what we're going to do, and this is where sometimes I put way too much glue on this and then it kind of warps. So I'm going to see if I can make that not happen this time. I'll go very subtle with the glue. My envelopes always tend to warp. Okay, just put your glue on the tabs, close this over, and just press. And there's your envelope. Done. All right. Now just let that dry for a sec. I don't want to mess with that right now. I would put it in there, but I'm going to let this dry so it doesn't pull apart. But that's pretty much it. A very simple card. Doesn't take very long. If you enjoyed hanging out with me and crafting with me, take a moment and visit our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And if you make this or any of the beautiful projects from our last bundle, please visit us in the official Facebook group on Facebook. Do a search for Dreaming Tree Group and join myself and 7,700 plus other dreamers who inspire us daily. So I hope you enjoyed this project and I look forward to crafting with you again. Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.